Was Hamas right to respond with rocket fire?
This isn't about Hamas. This is about Israel. Israel provokes. Israel commits every crime you can imagine. Israel injures more than 300 worshippers, peaceful worshippers, this morning in Al-Aqsa Mosque. Israel evicts people of their homes, continues with its sheer violations of the very basic rights of people, and then they try to blame the react rather than the act. And we must really visit the root causes of all this, and the root cause of all this is Israel's insistence on the very denial of people's basic rights. Tonight, as we speak, Emily, people are demonstrating in Palestine all over, including cities inside the Green Light, in 48 Palestine, in Jaffa, in Haifa, in Nazareth. Why do you think people are demonstrating? They're fed up.
Do you condemn the rocket attacks by Hamas?
I condemn, and I condemn Israeli aggression. I mourn for the 20 people who were murdered in Gaza only tonight. 9 of them are children. I am so sad to see the hundreds of my people being...
I will do that in a moment. I'm asking you about Hamas's aggression tonight.
I am not aware of any Israeli who has been killed. And you ask me a question about violence and condemnation. Who should be condemned, Emily? Who should be condemned? Did you see the images of the 9 children being dissipated in Gaza tonight? Who should be condemned? And then the UK Foreign Secretary is quick to condemn Hamas and never to condemn the Israeli atrocities on a daily basis. We are sick and tired of the double standards, and we have to call it right. Always the story begins when Palestinian reaction happens, as if it started with Hamas. Look at your question. Your question is about Hamas, rockets.
But that's because I'm talking to you.
No, Emily. I have done many interviews. It starts with the Palestinian reaction, with the symptom of the illness. It never visits the illness. The illness is that this state, Israel, the occupying state, has been applying draconian measures against our people in every sense, depriving them the right to move, the right to own their property, the right to work, the right to vote in a free elections, including in East Jerusalem, every right you can imagine. And not only, by the way, inside the occupied territories, but even inside Israel itself. There is a Knesset law that has deprived our people inside Israel their basic rights of having self-determination. This whole system has been built. Endemic in it is the racism, endemic in it is the vulgar ultra-nationalism. That's why you get people trying to defend their dignity. This is about Palestinians. This is about Israel insisting that we are second-class, not even citizens. We have no rights. We are ought to be brutalized with silence. And when we act with dignity, when we resist this, the whole thing becomes about our resistance and our struggle. Israel is deliberately trying to flare the situation, especially politicians, right-wing extreme politicians, to dodge criminal charges that is Netanyahu facing, and to feed the populism in Israel right now and the right-wing extremists.